And the Lord spoke to Moses.
Take Aaron and his sons with him, and the garments, the anointing oil, a bull as the sin offering, 2 rams, and a basket of unleavened bread, and gather all the congregation together at the door of the tabernacle of meeting.
So Moses did as the Lord commanded him, and the congregation was gathered together at the door of the tabernacle of meeting.
All right, everything's
Moses
coming together
said to
now.
the congregation,
This is what the Lord commanded to be done.
Then Moses brought Aaron and his sons and washed them with water. And he put the tunic on him, girded him with the sash, clothed him with the robe. And he put the ephod on him, and he girded him with the intricately
what the ephod
woven
is,
band
right?
of the ephod,
We looked at all
and
that.
with it tied the ephod on him. Then he put the breastplate on him, and he put the Urim and the Thummim in the breastplate, and he put the turban on his head. Also on the turban, on its front, he put the
And
golden
we've gone
plate,
through-
the holy crown.
We've gone through
As the-
this so many times, like, okay, not so many times, but quite a few times, explaining, the ephod and all the different pieces and everything. And Moses is writing it again.
The Lord had commanded Moses. Also Moses took the anointing oil and anointed the tabernacle and all that was in it, and consecrated them. He sprinkled some of it on the altar 7 times, anointed the altar and all its utensils, and the laver and its base, to consecrate them. And he poured some of the anointing oil on Aaron's head, and anointed him, to consecrate him.
Who
Then
washed
Moses
all the
brought
utensils and
Aaron's
all that after
sons
they were
and put
anointed?
tunics on them, girded them with sashes, and put hats on them, as the Lord had commanded Moses. And he brought the bull for the sin offering. And Aaron and his sons laid their hands on the head of the bull for the sin offering, and Moses killed it. And
Okay,
he took
so
the blood.
right, just to get rid of all the sin that Aaron, potentially all the sin that Aaron and his sons have, give them forgiveness, do the offering, right, because they need to be clean, right? So this will clean them, I'm assuming, right, after they do the sin offering, right?
Put some on the horns of the altar all around with his finger, and purified the altar. And he poured the blood at the base of the altar, and consecrated it to make atonement for it. Then he took all the fat that was on the entrails, the
Oh, we were
fatty
talking about
lobe
the fat
attached to
yesterday.
the liver, and the 2 kidneys with
That
their
fat is important.
And Moses burned them on the altar. But the bull, its hide, its flesh, and its offal, he burned with fire outside the camp, as the Lord had commanded Moses. Then he brought the ram as the burnt offering. And Aaron and his sons laid their hands on the head of the ram, and Moses killed it. Then he sprinkled the blood all around on the altar, and he cut the ram into pieces. And Moses burnt the head, the pieces, and the fat. Then he washed the entrails and the legs in water. And Moses burned the whole ram on the altar. It was a burnt sacrifice for a sweet aroma, an offering made by fire to the Lord, as the Lord had commanded Moses. And he brought the second ram, the ram of consecration. Then Aaron and his sons laid their hands on the head of the ram, and Moses killed it. Also he took some of its blood and put it on the tip of Aaron's right ear, on the thumb of his right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot. Then he brought Aaron's sons, and Moses put some of the blood on the tips of their right ears, on the thumbs of their right hands, and on the big toes of their right feet. And Moses sprinkled the blood all around on the altar. Then he took the fat and the fat tail, all the fat that was on
That's
the
cool.
entrails.
We're
fat-
seeing, we were just told, right, all of the laws and the rules, the procedure for the offerings, and then now we're seeing it actually taking place. So that's cool.
lobe attached to the liver, the 2 kidneys and their fat, and the right thigh, And from the basket of unleavened bread that was before the Lord, he took one unleavened cake, a cake of bread anointed with oil, and one wafer, and put them on the fat, and on the right thigh. And he put all these in Aaron's...
With all these offerings, right? Okay, so are they still eating the quail and the manna in this point, or no? Right? Because they have all the... I mean, I guess they have their cattle that they brought with them from Egypt, right? And they're breeding them, and that's what they're using for the offering, right? So why did God provide quail when they already had meat? And they're making bread, right? So why did they need manna? Yeah, are they still eating quail and manna at this point? Let me look it up. When did the children of Israel stop eating manna? Okay, this is Joshua 5:12. The manna ceased on the morrow after they had eaten of the old corn of the land. The manna ceased, which God now withheld to show that manna was not an ordinary production of nature, but an extraordinary and special gift of God to supply their necessity. So this happened later in Joshua. Okay, but why then? Why? They have bread. Unless they're making bread from the manna? Are they making bread from manna? And why the quail? Did God stop providing the quail? I mean, it never said that. But, I mean, they have plenty of rams and oxen for sacrificing and offerings, right? And they're supposed to give the best of the best, which means there are lesser animals, right? Which could be eaten. And they did mention, that they could be eaten, right? Because they said, don't eat the fat. That's God's. You can eat you can do whatever you want with the rest. So they were eating from their cattle that were considered clean, right? I mean, all their cattle were clean, right? Because they couldn't touch anything unclean. So why quail? I mean, where else would they have gotten their cattle, right? They had to have brought that from Egypt. And, they said they did bring their cattle, all their cattle from Egypt. So they had meat the entire time. So why did God provide them with quail? That's interesting. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section, because that's an interesting question.
His hands and in his son's hands, and waved them as a wave offering before the Lord. Then Moses took them from their hands and burned them on the altar, on the burnt offering. They were consecration offerings for a sweet aroma. That was an offering made by fire to the Lord. And Moses took the breast and waved it as a wave offering before the Lord. It was Moses' part of the ram of consecration,
I find that funny. A wave
as
offering
the
is
Lord
literally
had commanded Moses.
a wave offering.
Then Moses took some of the anointing oil and some of the blood which was on the altar, and sprinkled it on Aaron, on his garments, on his sons, and on the garments of his sons with him. And he consecrated Aaron, his garments, his sons, and the garments of his sons with him. And Moses said to Aaron and his sons,
Boil the flesh at the door of the tabernacle of meeting, and eat it there with the bread that is in the basket of consecration offerings, as I commanded, saying, Aaron and his sons shall eat it. What remains of the flesh and of the bread you shall burn with fire, and you shall not go outside the door of the tabernacle of meeting for 7 days, until the days of your consecration are ended. For 7 days he shall consecrate you, as he has done this day, so the Lord has commanded to do, to make atonement for you. Therefore, you shall stay at the door of the tabernacle of meeting day and night for 7 days, and keep the charge of the Lord, so that you may not die. For so I have been commanded.
So Aaron and his sons did all the things that the Lord had commanded by the hand of Moses.
I wonder if somebody, some little curious
It came to
boy
pass on the
ran
8th
in there,
day
some guy, ran in there just to see, I want to see what's inside the tabernacle. They're not letting us get in the tabernacle, and then they die. I'm curious if there's like a story like that. I'm sure somebody was just, itching to sneak in there, right? There has to have been somebody.
that Moses called Aaron and his sons and the elders of Israel, and he said to Aaron,
Take for yourself a young bull as a sin offering, and a ram as a burnt offering without blemish, and offer them before the Lord. And to the children of Israel you shall speak, saying, Take a kid of the goats as a sin offering, and a calf and a lamb, both of the first year, without blemish, as a burnt offering, also a bull and a ram as peace offerings, to sacrifice before the Lord, and a grain offering mixed with oil. For today the Lord will appear to you.
So they brought what Moses commanded before the tabernacle of meeting. And all the congregation drew near and stood before the Lord. Then Moses said,
This is the thing which the Lord commanded you to do, and the glory of the Lord will appear to you.
Moses said to Aaron,
Go to the altar. Offer your sin offering and your burnt offering, and make atonement for yourself and for the people. Offer the offering of the people, and make atonement for them, as the Lord commanded.
Aaron therefore went to the altar and killed the calf of the sin offering, which was for himself. Then the sons of Aaron brought the blood to him, and he dipped his finger in the blood, put it on the horns of the altar, and poured the blood at the base of the altar. But the fat, the kidneys, and the fatty lobe from the liver of the sin offering he burned on the altar, as the Lord had commanded Moses. The flesh and the hide he burned with fire outside the camp.
We went into a lot
And
of
he
detail
killed
regarding
the
that. So if you're curious about that reason why this was happening, why they did this, check out the previous video, Leviticus 5 to 7.
Burnt offering. And Aaron's sons presented to him the blood, which he sprinkled all around on the altar. Then they presented the burnt offering to him, with its pieces and head, and he burned them on the altar. He washed the entrails and the legs, and burned them with the burnt offering on the altar. Then he brought the people's offering, and took the goat, which was the sin offering for the people, and killed it, and offered it for sin, like the first one. And he brought the burnt offering, and offered it, according to the prescribed manner. Then he brought the grain offering, took a handful of it, and burned it on the altar, besides the burnt sacrifice of the morning. He also killed the bull and the ram as sacrifices of peace offerings, which were for the people. And Aaron's sons presented to him the blood, which he sprinkled all around on the altar, and the fat from the bull and the ram, the fatty tail, what covers the entrails and the kidneys, and the fatty lobe attached to the liver. And they put the fat on the breasts. Then he burned the fat on the altar. But the breasts and the right thigh Aaron waved as a wave offering before the Lord, as Moses had commanded. Then Aaron lifted his hand toward the people, blessed them, and came down from offering the sin offering, the burnt offering, and peace offerings. And Moses and Aaron went into the tabernacle of meeting, and came out and blessed the people. Then the glory of the Lord appeared to all the people, and fire came out from before the Lord, and consumed the burnt offering and the fat on the altar. When all the people saw it, they shouted and fell on their faces. Then Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, each took his censer and put fire in it, put incense on it, and offered profane fire before the Lord, which he had not commanded them.
They each took They took his censer and put fire in it, and put incense on it. I guess you're not supposed to mix the two.
So fire went out from the Lord and devoured them.
Whoa.
And they died before the Lord. And Moses said to Aaron,
This is what the Lord spoke, saying, By those who come near me I must be regarded as holy. And before all the people I must be glorified.
So Aaron held his peace.
Yeah, people probably didn't
Then
sneak to the
Moses
tabernacle
called
after
Mishael
that, right?
and Elzaphan, the sons of Uzziel, the uncle of Aaron, and said to them,
Uzziel,
Come
that sounds
near.
like an angel's name.
Carry your brethren from before the sanctuary out of the camp.
So they went near and carried them by their tunics out of the camp, as Moses had said. And Moses said to Aaron and to Eleazar and Ithamar his sons,
Do not uncover your heads, nor tear your clothes, lest you die, and wrath come upon all the people. But let your brethren, the whole house of Israel, bewail the burning which the Lord has kindled. You shall not go out from the door of the tabernacle of meeting, lest you die. For the anointing oil of the Lord is upon you.
And they did according to the word of Moses. Then the Lord spoke to Aaron,
Do not drink wine or intoxicating drink, you nor your sons with you, when you go into the tabernacle of meeting, lest you die. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations.
Okay. So, drinking wine was permissible, just not when you go into the tabernacle. Interesting. Okay.
That you may distinguish between holy and unholy, and between unclean and clean.
Okay, so you don't want to be intoxicated, so you can distinguish between holy and unholy and clean and unclean. Not that wine is unclean. Okay.
And that you may teach the children of Israel all the statutes which the Lord has spoken to them by the hand of Moses.
I don't understand. Why wouldn't a wine be unclean? Like, we can't eat pig, but you can drink wine, something that will alter your brain from the way God had intended it to work. Right? It's an intoxicating drink, right? You're not in your senses. So why is that considered clean when eating pork isn't? I don't understand that, right? That doesn't make much sense to me. Because God is saying, yeah, don't drink wine when you go into the tabernacle. He's not saying don't drink wine, full stop, period. So, what are your thoughts about that? Right? What do you think? I mean, like don't eat shrimp. That's unclean. If you eat it, you will be impure, and you will defile yourself, and you'll need to do an offering, right? Otherwise, you'll be guilty and a sinner. If you even touch a shrimp, even if you touch a shrimp by accident, you don't even know it. You are guilty and a sinner, and you need to and you need to do an offering. However, you can drink alcohol. That alters the way you think, like your senses. So much so that you can't even distinguish between holy and holy and clean and unclean. So, why is something that can potentially make you do something sinful, right? You might be thinking you're eating chicken, but you're eating pork because you don't know the difference between what's clean and unclean. So why is something that has the potential of making you sin okay? Let me know your thoughts down below, because that is an interesting question.
Moses spoke to Aaron and to Eleazar and Ithamar, his sons, who were left.
Take the grain offering that remains of the offerings made by fire to the Lord, and eat it without leaven beside the altar, for it is most holy. You shall eat it in a holy place, because it is your due and your sons' due of the sacrifices made by fire to the Lord, for so I have been commanded. The breast of the wave offering and the thigh of the heave offering you shall eat in a clean place, you, your sons, and your daughters with you, for they are your due and your sons' due, which are given from the sacrifices of peace offerings of the children of Israel. The thigh of the heave offering and the breast of the wave offering they shall bring with the offerings of fat made by fire, to offer as a wave offering before the Lord. And it shall be yours and your sons with you by a statute forever, as the Lord has commanded.
Then Moses made careful inquiry about the goat of the sin offering, and there it was, burned up. And he was angry with Eleazar and Ithamar, the sons of Aaron, who were left.
Why have you not eaten the sin offering in a holy place, since it is most holy, and God has given it to you to bear the guilt of the congregation, to make atonement for them before the Lord? See, its blood was not brought inside the holy place. Indeed, you should have eaten it in a holy place, as I commanded.
And Aaron said to Moses,
Look, this day they have offered their sin offering and their burnt offering before the Lord. And such things have befallen me. If I had eaten the sin offering today, would it have been accepted in the sight of the Lord?
So when Moses heard that,
And Aaron said to Moses, Look, this day they have offered their sin offering and their burnt offering before the Lord, and such things have befallen me. If I had eaten the sin offering today, would it have been accepted in the sight of the Lord? So when Moses heard that, he was content. I don't understand. If Aaron ate it if they were supposed to eat it in a holy place and Aaron didn't eat it in a holy place, I would assume God would be mad, right? Let's see what this has to say. Leviticus 10:19, right? Yeah. All right, let's start with 17:18, right? Because it's talking about the blood and all that stuff inside the holy place. The priests were to eat the flesh, except for the fat, of any sin offering whose blood was not brought inside the holy place. Wait. Let me keep reading. Okay, I thought they were supposed to eat it in the holy place. The priests were to eat the flesh of any sin offering whose blood was not brought inside. I'm off screen. Inside the holy place. Um, whoop. That is, of any sin offering that was not intended to atone for them. Eleazar and Ithamar had not done this, but had burned up all the goat of the sin offering. Okay, so they didn't eat. Aaron said, Moses. Okay, what is that? Okay, Moses had spoken to Eleazar and Ithamar, perhaps out of respect for his older brother. And since Aaron should have eaten the meat of the offering also. But Aaron replied, taking responsibility for his family, as was proper in the Israel's patriarchal society. Okay, when it says such things, where is that such things? In 10:19. And Aaron said to Moses, look, this day they have offered their sin offering and their burnt offering before the Lord, and such things have befallen me. What are these things? And Aaron was referring to the deaths of his 2 eldest sons. No, that's not the reason why. They were waving that impure fire, right? Because they mixed the they had mixed incense with the fire, and they're waving it around. They weren't supposed to. Then Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, each took his censer and put fire in it, and put incense on it, and offered profane fire before the Lord, which he had not commanded them. So fire went out from the Lord and devoured them, and they died before the Lord. So when it says here, and such, right? This day they have offered their sin offering and their burnt offering before the Lord, and such things have befallen me. Maybe it's 2 separate statements, right? Not because they did this happened, right? Couldn't be. Would it have been accepted, right? Would it have been accepted for if Aaron had eaten the sin offering? Yeah, because that's what you're supposed to do. Aaron did not eat the sacrificial meat because he was afraid of what more God might do. Why? God told you to eat it. He was not being rebellious, as his dead sons had been in burning the incense. Aaron was arguing that in circumstances such as the one he faced that day, God would prefer the priest to err on the side of caution rather than presumption. Aaron's reply to Moses illustrates that the interpretation of the law was not static. Moses was content. What is that? Rebellion arises from the heart that is not right toward God. Moses recognized that Aaron's failure was not rebellion, that his argument had merit, and that Aaron could be forgiven. The first great crisis in establishing Israel's worship of God had passed. Okay, so Aaron didn't eat of the offering because he was erring on the side of caution. He was scared. And we know Aaron is a scaredy cat, right? When Moses left, and then the people were like, hey, make us an idol, right? And he didn't even protest. He just, okay, give me your gold, earrings, and all that stuff. I'm going to melt it down and make you a calf. He just caved, under pressure. So Aaron did not eat the sacrificial meat because he was afraid of what more God might do. He was not being rebellious, as his dead sons had been in the burning the incense. Aaron was arguing that in circumstances such as the one he faced that day, God would prefer the priest to err on the side of caution rather than presumption. Aaron's reply to Moses illustrates that the interpretation of the law was not static. The interpretation of the law was not static, right? Because the intention of the person, right? Aaron was not eating this of the offering in rebellion towards God for killing his sons, right? He didn't eat of it because he was erring on the side of caution, which I don't really understand, right? Why would you err on the side of caution by disobeying God? Okay, but let's run with that. He was scared, and he didn't act because he was scared. Okay. So he disobeyed the law, right? But he did it. He didn't do it with ill intent, right? He was just scared, right? He was not rebelling or anything. So Moses was like, okay, that's fine. He's content with that answer. And God was content with that answer too, right? Because Aaron didn't get lit on fire immediately, right? Now let's look at this. Then Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, each took his censer and put fire in it, and put incense on it, and offered profane fire before the Lord, which he had not commanded. But it's profane fire because they had put incense in the fire, and God told them not to do that. But they were offering it before the Lord. So they were trying to please God, but God had told them not to do it. You see what I'm getting at? Aaron did something God told him not to do, but his intentions weren't bad. His sons, Nadab and Abihu, did something that God not even told them not to do. He didn't tell them to do what they did. And they were doing it for God. But they were burnt alive. Did they know that it was profane fire? And also, it is fine for Aaron to not do something God told him to do, if it was with good intention, and it's fine. However, if somebody touched an unclean carcass accidentally and didn't even know it, but then finds out that they had touched it, they are guilty and a sinner, and they need to do an offering to God. So I don't understand that. Right? Are you guys following with what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't really make any sense.
Before the Lord, and such things have befallen me. If I had eaten the sin offering
It seems
today,
like Moses just taking it easy on Aaron because that's his brother. Like, why wasn't Aaron even punished after creating the golden calf? Like, he got away scot-free.
would it have been accepted in the sight of the Lord?
So when Moses
Yeah, it would have been.
that,
It would have been accepted in the sight of the Lord, but you didn't. But it seems here, like when Moses heard that, right? It seems like maybe that wouldn't have been accepted in the sight of the Lord if he had eaten the sin offering that day. Why? I mean, he didn't commit any sin. His sons did. But he takes responsibility for his sons. So, if his sons sin, that falls on him. Right? And therefore, maybe he didn't feel like it was right for him to partake of the sin offering. That could be it. That could be it. Yeah. Let me know your thoughts down below.
he was content.
Yeah, and that's it, actually. Okay, that was it. Leviticus 8 to 10. So that was actually quite interesting. So, yeah, we had a little bit of a discussion there going on. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. I'm curious to hear what you think about that. And I will see you guys tomorrow for Leviticus chapter 11. All right? You guys take care. Bye-bye.